Hey everyone, it's Drew Dillon of Columbus Weightlifting. I got Aaron Giannetti of Endeavor.
We're back.
And we're back. We're on to week 2 and we're going to go over some things. What I'm going to start off with is the program that we just sent out yesterday. Pretty self-explanatory. The videos, I've tried to get some good voiceover on everything for the drills. So again, if you have any questions about the program, if anything's confusing, do not hesitate to just press reply and send me a question. So that's the easiest way for me to understand what you guys are thinking, or if I've put something confusing in there for you guys. I have a couple of the top questions, but before we get into that, I'm going to let Aaron just go over the CrossFit portion that should be done, right before those rest days, and then we'll talk about these couple big questions I've been getting, and really just what we've been hearing, the feedback in general coming from you guys.
So getting into this week, guys, again, focusing more on fitting skills training and keeping that side of things relatively sharp, and then just kind of, again, just getting a fix for the conditioning. I can't say this stuff enough. The program is focused on a little bit weightlifting. So if you're thinking, like, where's all the barbell motions and shit like that in the conditioning, for right now, it's not there. Especially in a week where we're going to go up to the 90%. We really need you guys focused, having your strength more on the lifts than we are on the other side of that. So again, if you notice in there's really all body weight this week, and that's fine. It's good. It's going to keep your hips moving nice and quick. It's going to keep you to a point where you're not beating yourself up and just trashing your CNS. And again, we can focus on the lifts, but you're going to maintain some of that skill stuff. So day one, relatively simple, guys. When you're warming up, again, kind of like we did last week, spend about 5 minutes just playing inverted. Again, nothing to the point where you're stressing yourself out or you're burning out your shoulders or screwing up your forearms or wrists or anything like that. But again, just spend some time working on those handstand positions, whether it's scaled off a box, off a wall in the middle of the room, whether you want to practice shoulder touches, turning, walking, anything like that. Whatever you level out with the handstand, play for 5 minutes. Get the shoulders a little bit warmed up, loose, and then move on to warming up with your barbell. After that, we get into your post-lift stuff, your skill stuff. I want you guys really easy, just every minute on the minute for 10 minutes. 3 dead hang pull-ups, 3 dips, right? Again, reinforcing some of the muscle-up stuff we worked on last week. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Scale any way you need with bands, whether it's on the dips. You can do the dips off the rings, you can do dips off of a box, you can do dips off of a dip bar, anything you guys want. Use bands to assist those. It shouldn't be killing you guys. So it should definitely only take you about 15 seconds to get through all 6 reps each round. If it's taking you longer than that, or if you're struggling, scale. Use bands. Conditioning, pretty straightforward. 5 wall climbs, 10 broad jumps, 15 sit-ups, 5 rounds. With the wall climbs, start chest to the ground, hands off the ground, walk all the way up, chest to the wall, best you can. Again, if you're having some issues with that, you can scale with about half wall climbs where you're still about a foot off the wall type thing. You can absolutely scale to 3 mule kicks. If you don't know what a mule kick is, hands on the ground, essentially push up position in front of the wall, jump your feet up, touch the wall, come back down. So just multiply that by 3, it'd be 15 wall climbs. On the broad jumps, ballpark it, 4 to 5 feet, guys. If 4 is too far for you and it's really taxing you out, go 3 feet. No big deal. Again, working on that big hip drive, keeping you guys explosive. 15 sit-ups is 15 sit-ups. You can scale that however you need to if you do need to scale that. Day 2, spend 5 minutes working on jump rope, working on double unders. Again, guys, spend this time really not taxing yourself out, but refining the movements. If you're a donkey kicker, if you kind of, pivot and pull your body and can crunch in the middle or anything like that, focus on your bounding. Instead of working just on your doubles, work on your good positional bounding. Feet together, knees together, heels are barely kissing the ground, jumping straight up and down, elbows in, palms relatively towards the ceiling, and moving through the wrists. Warm up, not taxing you guys. Once you finish your list for that day, go back out and establish a max height standing box jump. So no steps whatsoever. No turning, pivoting, nothing. Stand dead still, pivot, boom, not even pivot. Squat, boom, jump, hit, bam. Nothing to it. And then Tabata rowing. 20 seconds of work, 10 seconds of rest, but for 12 total rounds. So not the standard 8 rounds we would normally do. 12 total rounds. During the 10-second break, keep the fan moving. So just kind of moving back and forth so that it doesn't come to a dead stop each time. And then essentially just look at it for calories, look at it for meters, however you want to, and kind of, get that in there. But just get you that fix of conditioning, keeping the heart rate up, and not taxing you to a point where you're not focusing more on the lifts. It's a heavy week for the lifts. And some of you guys are going to start realizing that the lifts are going to start taxing you more than you thought. So focus on the CrossFit stuff, on the skill stuff, the conditioning as a secondary. The lifts are primary. That's your main form. That's your main function. So That's the CrossFit stuff for this week, the skills and conditioning stuff. If you have any questions, Aaron at EndeavorDCF.com, and I'll get back to you guys as soon as possible.
So guys, back onto the questions that we've been getting. One big one is the footwork move, or the foot movement, and the footwork we've been doing with the powers and the lifts onto the mats. So one thing I want to highlight is, if you're drawing boxes just with chalk, you may still need to find something physical that you can lie there and let your feet get on top of that. There's something subconsciously that really changes in an athlete when you have to get your feet on something. Aaron's a perfect example. We had to get something that he could physically land on because it was not just moving for a chalk line or just chalk boxes. One thing I want Aaron to talk a little bit about is, how long did it take for him to feel good with his feet moving like that, especially when we start riding it down into a full movement?
Again, you guys have probably heard this numerous times, whether it's from the 90-day challenge page or just the last couple times we've talked about it. But when I first started doing the movement on the mats, we actually used the 3/4 inch stall mats. It was what we had available. Mark was pissing and moaning about how I didn't move my feet. He said, boom, here, jump on these. It took a while to get used to it. But like he said, there is this distinct difference between just moving your feet to the other side of a chalk line and knowing that you have to move your feet up onto something and land solid on a platform. So it took a while to get used to that. And to be completely honest, and I was telling somebody about this the other day, I still use them. When I'm warming up, if I'm going to be working up to the 80s, 85s, 90s, or things like that, if I'm feeling slow, if I feel like my feet aren't moving, anything like that, I'll pull the mats back out and I'll use them for my warm-ups. So I'll hit my 2x50, 2x60, 2x70, and 1x75 on mats just to re-get that motion going, so I'm not really thinking about it. So even though, after about 3 or 4 weeks, I started to get comfortable with the movement and I was moving my feet a little more consistently, and I felt better in that wider position in the bottom, it's still there to reinforce. It's like anything else. If you stop performing it, you're going to lose it. That's just the way it is. It's not like, oh, I finally got my feet to move. Now I never have to worry about it again. Because when we start picking on you for the way you're pulling on the bar, and the position you're landing in, and are you stretching the bar and everything else, when you start working on that, you may start losing the movement of the feet. You might have to go back to it. So having that simple reminder of moving out, it's good. It reinforces that over and over again. We had a lot of comments about people that go, oh, well, my feet already move. I don't really need that. Yes and no. If your feet move, that's great. And again, if we can help you kind of assess whether they're moving exactly where we want you to, that's great as well. But again, as we start to pick and fine tune on some other things, and you start to drive in different positions or catch in different positions, it may still be very beneficial to force your feet to move through that stuff. So just keep that in mind. It'll start to feel better. Give it another 2 or 3 weeks. It'll start to feel better. But even, 6 weeks from now, if we say jump onto the mats, jump onto the mats. And if you're one of the people that are like me, that you really don't move your feet, and if you have a background in CrossFit and you've done Grace or Isabel or Randy, trust me, you probably don't move your feet. Refine that stuff. Use it. When you're warming up for snatch, even if we're saying not necessarily to do it that day, do it in your warm-ups. Get yourself to move if you really need that stuff. So it's a really great drill, guys. It truly is.
Second one, guys, not needing a drill. So had a few people ask, hey, I'm not sure if this drill is really meant for me. I feel pretty good about it. At this point, I'm going to have you do the drill that we've programmed. Just do it. Just like Aaron said, if your feet are moving well, this is just reinforcing that good movement. And you're not losing anything. You're not wasting any time. You're only highlighting an area that often can make or break a lift. A lot of the wiggle and wobble you feel and see in a lift up here, up top, comes from how our feet are landing. It's amazing. So really working on this is just making you stronger in that area. There will come a point when we do have you select the drills that you feel are maybe the most challenging for you, in a way of, say, your feet don't move and wow, my feet don't move, I need to put that in there. That's going to come down later in the line, but not yet. Anything to add to that?
Honestly, guys, just on top of that, the purpose of the drill with the mats especially, and again, because that's the one we got a lot of questions and things on, especially with the drill with the mats, everybody thinks it's just to move your feet. The other thing you have to keep in mind is you may be moving your feet, but not moving them aggressively enough. You might be landing back on the heel or forward on the toe. You might not be landing perfectly flat foot. You might not be timing the landing of the feet with the punching and stretching of the bar. So in your head, if all you're thinking is, oh, well, all they're trying to do is get my feet to move out, start thinking of it in a different manner. Okay, well, my feet move. So now what I'm going to really think about doing is as I'm jumping onto those mats, I'm really going to put my feet down a little more aggressively, and that's going to be my focus when we do that mat drill. So again, you can take the same drill and have different inklings and ways that it's supposed to help you specifically. You know, even when I started getting my feet moving, the one thing that they started, kind of harping on me after that was, okay, now your feet are moving. Now get them there and be more aggressive and work on that timing and really pulling underneath and getting those feet set, to a point where you're nice and solid. So again, yes, the main focus on getting the mats is to force everyone to move their feet out and land in that better position. But again, maybe you need to spin that a little bit and focus on kind of a different, way that this drill is going to help you. So that's something you can start thinking about.
And the last thing I want to touch on, those were awesome points, especially it's not just about the width, it's also how it's landing. The last question I wanted to really address and make sure out there while you're doing this, yes, we're doing this to increase the weight overall. Yes, we want PRs, but follow the process. Trust that if you do what's written, that down the line when it's time to test it, we'll have PRs. Don't feel the pressure to go, hey, let me see if I can PR yet. Hey, let me see if I can PR yet. And keep putting the weight up there and keep going after weights like that. That's not the point of the program, and it's going to inhibit your ability to get those PRs later. You have to refine some stuff, and in this time, PRs will be coming, but you have to be very confident that it will. You can't get in your mind, and this is part of the challenge. You have to let yourself rest. If you feel like you didn't work hard enough for the day, you have to push those feelings away. Trust the program, rest, and then continue, and you will reap the rewards.
True. Honestly, just to back that, guys, any good solid coach knows that the program is there for at the end game to get you some PRs, and any, coach that spent their time, studying volume and training and different methodology and, how the muscles rebuild and recover and all that kind of fun stuff. Everybody knows it's set up in a way to get you to that end game. And if you do it, you pull a heavy single this day and it wasn't the right day and things like that, it'll really jack you. The first couple weeks especially is about movement, technique, holding positions, hitting the positions we want you to hit. And especially if you know the Olympic lifting game, refining your technique is going to refine your PRs in the end. Okay, the squats, the good mornings, the pressing positions, that's for your overall strength for right now. If you start, working up to heavy singles and you start missing it, you're going to get frustrated. It's going to start messing with you mentally, and then that's going to go in and affect your next training day. One thing I hear a lot, and it's not just with Mark and Drew, but people say go in and make lifts. Make lifts. That's the mentality, guys. Get comfortable, get confident in the movement, lock that technique down. The PRs are going to come later. Promise you that much. They will.
So last point, guys. Aaron talked a bit about what's going on with the CrossFit programming. When we look at the weightlifting programming, there's not a lot you haven't seen from the week before. So that's why I'm not going to harp on the same things, except for one that I can think off the top of my mind, and that's actually the footwork drill for the jerk.
Truth.
So I did.
And I got to run and teach CrossFit, guys. Mwah, love you. I'm going to leave Drew for the rest of this.
Thanks, buddy.
See you later.
So with the footwork drill for the jerk, I tried to put a voiceover the best I could on it. So listen to that voiceover, listen to the video, watch what we're doing here. It's not a drill based on how quick I can do it. It's not a drill based on having a bar and moving through with a bar. It's about rhythm and timing. One thing during our clinics and courses I always talk about, this is a drill that was vital for Holly when she first came to us. It was something that she had a hard time with, and when you'd go, she actually did a little work at City Barbecue. When you'd go there and peek in that back room where she might be working, she'd have her headphones in, packing boxes, doing this footwork drill. It's more about rhythm and timing, so don't go at a speed that you lose balance or falling out of position. If you have to break it down where you literally unlock, drive, slide the back foot back, and step forward that slow, even slower, okay. I want you to remember the pieces of it and get into comfortable positions so you can continue to do that and slowly start to increase speed. But we never take this drill and go, okay, who's the lifter that can do it the fastest in this drill? It's about rhythm and timing. So let the questions come. If you have questions about that, I'm sure there will be. That's fine. And, good luck week 2. Love the comments. They were amazing. The comments were amazing. The questions were amazing. The interaction is amazing. Excited that you guys are liking this. Excited for some big lifts for all of you. And, let me know if there's anything we can do to help. So good luck in week 2. Keep safe. And let's, PRs down the line. Let's keep going after them.